All right, here's a good point, and to highlight the fact that Dr. Michelle Dow is completely useless. Abstinence is not unethical, and it's 100% possible, right? The only argument that I've ever heard against abstinence, the only argument is just the laughing emoji. That's all. That's literally the only argument I've ever heard against this topic here. So I've had these debates, and the only argument ever is the laughing emoji, the laughter emoji, the mocking, emoji. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I'm not going to be, abstinent. I'm just going to engage in fornication and abortions and all this stuff. That's literally the only time I've ever had any opposition to this. This topic here. All right, so let's read it. Abstinence is not unethical. Here's why. Abstinence does not destroy life. It does not kill or harm a developing human being. Unlike abortifacient birth control, abstinence does not frustrate the natural act. It simply refrains from engaging in the act of at all, right? There's no contradiction in choosing not to act. Ethics becomes an issue only when the act is entered into and then deliberately distorted, right? And then the freedom of choice. A man or woman has the moral freedom to choose whether or not to engage in sexual activity, right? Abstinence can even be virtuous when chosen for self-control, religious reasons, or to avoid harm. Or let's say, for example, you can't afford a baby right now, whatever. I mean, you still have a naturally um, it's 100% possible to, the birth control is what I'm saying. The birth control is natural, right? You don't need this artificial birth control that kills the baby, right? What? So in contrast, using birth control pills, especially abortifacients, is unethical because it enters into the natural act of sex while deliberately corrupting its natural purpose, conception, right? Which still occurs, right? It still occurs. But then the baby will die at the very later and natural stage of development, which is the implantation, right? This is not right. It really is not right. This is something that is the greatest crime ever. So natural birth control. It actually does, prevent the conception, right? And that's the way it should be, right? That's the way it's been done for a long time. We don't need any kind of artificial, chemicals to do that, right? So, um, right on. Yeah. That's I would appreciate any comments, against this topic, right? Abstinence. The only comment I ever got was laughing emojis, right? They're laughing at this, right? Like this is not possible. Of course, it's possible. Yeah. Um, right on. I'll see you.